Welcome everyone to a special Let the People Know. It's my series on veterans, and I am pleased to say we've had an extraordinary amount of response from the shows, so we've decided to continue them. Today we are via Zoom, and we head to Carbon County with Christine LeClair. She is the Director of Veterans Affairs. Christine, thanks for joining us on the program to enlighten everyone what goes on to make sure that our veterans are remembered, taken care of, and really honored as part of the Carbon County community.
Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about what the Director of Veterans Affairs does and what exactly the role is of the Veterans Affairs for Carbon County.
Sure. So every county in Pennsylvania does have a Director of Veterans Affairs. It does look differently in each county. Some there's just a dedicated Veterans Affairs Director. Some counties, the directorship is shared with Agency on Aging or something like that. But there is a Veterans Affairs Director in each county. We are able to do so many things to help veterans within our jurisdiction. So some of the most common things that we do is file claims for disability compensation. So if a veteran hurt themselves while they were in service, there's possibility that they could receive monthly compensation for that once they get out. If there is a veteran or the surviving spouse of a veteran who's residing in a nursing home, there are benefits available for them called aid in attendance. So we help file those claims. Carbon County has a disabled American veterans van. So we are able to transport veterans up to the Wilkes-Barre VA. We do van runs 3 times a week. So that's a service we're able to provide here. We also have a veterans treatment court in Carbon County. They're popping up in various counties throughout the Commonwealth as well. So veterans who find themselves on the other side of the law for whatever reason, we do have a specialty court to help them through whatever they're dealing with. So, I mean, just day to day here, if you could think of it, you know, we've heard it. We help file for burial benefits, veterans who need temporary assistance, having financial hardship, homelessness. We really just run the gamut of everything that we're able to do and help veterans with every day.
You've named things that I wouldn't even have think of that you actually help the veterans with. So off the top of your head, and I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, how many veterans actually live in Carbon County, or would you have a rough guess at like the percentage of how many veterans live in Carbon County?
So there are 5,600 veterans in Carbon County and Carbon is one of the counties who have the higher veteran populations. So just about 8% of the population in Carbon County is veterans.
And how many of those veterans do you think actually participate or utilize the services which the Veterans Affairs offers?
Very few, actually. We just hired a part-time veteran service officer who's dedicated solely to doing outreach. So he's been going to the senior centers and different fairs and events and things like that, just to let people know that we exist and we're here to help.
And it's amazing because the services that you're offering them, they are free?
They are, yes.
Okay, so so this is a good opportunity if you're a veteran and you live in Carbon County to actually get in touch with Christine at the Veterans Affairs to see there might be some way or somehow that they can help you, or even, as we'll talk later in the program, there are events and gatherings that they can participate in to keep busy. Or like you said, if they need help with insurance or transportation, or they get in trouble with the law, that's all things that they could take advantage of, those services through the Veterans Affairs. How long has the Veterans Affairs been around in Carbon County, and how long have you been the director?
I've been the director for going on 3 years now.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how long they've been around, but I remember in high school working at the courthouse, and there was Veterans Affairs then. I'm not going to say how long ago that was, but
Right.
it
That's
was
okay. We won't date
quite some
you.
time.
But I asked you that question because was interested to know how services have been and what you've seen through the pandemic. Have you seen that it's been harder to get these veterans involved, or get in contact with the veterans, or has nothing really changed? What have you seen through the pandemic?
So we were able to keep our office open the entire time, which
Wow.
was fantastic. We did have to get a little creative. We weren't allowed to do in-person appointments for a little bit of time. So a lot of things were done through the mail or email, over the phone, things like that. But we did remain open the whole time. It took a lot longer to get things done because we would send it through the mail for signatures or things like that. But we were able to keep going, which was great.
And I'm assuming that most veterans that come to you are older.
They are, yes, the majority are. I do see a lot of Vietnam veterans who are now filing for benefits because of Agent Orange and Blue Water Navy and some of those situations.
So during COVID, was there any time where veterans were reaching out because of fear of COVID, or maybe they had COVID-19, or they were looking to get the vaccination or any of that?
There were a lot of inquiries about the COVID-19 vaccine because it was so hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
But once the Wilkes-Barre VA started doing their clinics and opening it up to spouses and things like that, I think they really did a fantastic job of getting the vaccines to the people that wanted them.
Very good. Now, before we go to break, our attention again for this series is to focus our attention on veterans. At times, we feel that veterans are not honored as well as they should be for what they do and sacrifice for us and for what we share as our freedoms in America. From your perspective, do people participate in celebrating veterans? Do you have volunteers that come out and help with the events that you host for veterans?
Absolutely. We just celebrated Vietnam War Veterans Day last month, and we held a luncheon, and we had nearly 200 people in attendance, and just about 100 of them were veterans. So we also opened it up to their spouses and community members. So it was really a phenomenal event. The guys that came out and two lady veterans from the Vietnam era came out, and we were just so happy to be able to honor them and come together and make introductions, so they could meet afterwards. I think a lot of people went in there as strangers and left as friends. So it was really a great event.
Well, that's really good to hear. I'm glad. And I'm glad that our viewers are supporting programs like this. When we come back, we're going to talk about events. Veterans, I hope you're watching. If you know a vet or you are a vet, please get involved with the Carbon County Veterans Affairs. They have many events going on that you could participate in. We are with Christine LeClair, and she's the director of the Veterans Affairs in Carbon County. When we come right back, we will kick off with talking about an event being held annually. It's held, I should say, every month. It's the Veterans Coffee event that we're going to talk about coming up. So stay with us right here on SSP TV. Welcome back, everyone, to SSP TV, a special edition of Let the People Know, our Veterans series. I'm happy to be in Carbon County today via Zoom with Christine LeClair. She is the Director of Veterans Affairs there in Carbon County. Hello to all of our viewers in Carbon County as well. And Christine, I appreciate you taking the time to join us to talk about what you and the Veterans Affairs does for our veterans to make sure that they are taken care of, that they get free services. And also, let's talk about some fun. They do have some fun. They could come out and maybe meet new people, bring old friends, meet new friends, and get involved in the community in a lighthearted way. So talk about some of the events that are coming up that they can participate in.
Sure. So we are just starting our Coffee and Camaraderie series for Vietnam era veterans. We will have one on May 26th at 9:30, and that one will be held at the number 9 coal mine in Lansford. And then the following event will be June 16th at 9:30 at the Carbon County Environmental Education Center. So we're really looking for Vietnam era veterans to come out. We will have some coffee and donuts. We'll have some giveaways to people who register, goodie bags at some events. Each event will be different as far as location and things like that, but we're really hoping to get a same group of men and women together who can come out and just, share some coffee and talking together.
Have you seen an increase of participation in face-to-face events now that we're kind of being cleared a little bit more with the restrictions from the pandemic?
We're really excited to be back out in the community. We actually just stood up a suicide prevention and awareness program called Together with Veterans. And it's really been slow moving because we started at the beginning of the pandemic, and it's really hard to get people to want to meet virtually or only say so many people could come to events in person. So that was actually who sponsored our Vietnam veteran luncheon a few weeks ago. So to have the response of 200 people coming out and being able to gather together in one space, it was just fantastic.
You think about being isolated, and then you think about veterans who maybe are alone and don't really have a lot of members of the family who can visit, and must have been a very lonely time stuck in the house and kind of with nothing but a television.
I'm sure. Yes.
So I guess that brings me to a point of services. Is there a service for veterans when you deal with health and I guess mental awareness, mental illness, or some mental health I guess events that they can, or activities that they can partake in?
Sure. So almost all of these activities that we are discussing are through Together with Veterans, which is the suicide prevention and awareness campaign that we started in Carbon County. It's the pilot program in the Commonwealth, and we're able to bring it here because Carbon County actually reports the highest incidence of veteran suicide in the whole Commonwealth.
In the whole Commonwealth. Now, why would that be? Is that because you have 8% of your population being veterans?
It's hard to say. There really isn't any one thing that we could point to. A lot of people like to say that we have a high Vietnam vet population, lack of transportation. We are a rural county. All of those things are true, but there isn't one thing that we're able to point to as the reason.
And as you mentioned, if viewers are just tuning into the show now, there is a Veterans Affairs in every county. So if you're watching and you're not part of Carbon County, you can contact the Veterans Affair in the county that you're in. And I'm sure the services are parallel to what's going on in Carbon County, Christine.
Absolutely, yes. Some counties are larger than others. We have some boroughs that border our county, but they're in Schuylkill County. We never turn anyone away and tell them that they have to, be served within their own county. They're welcome to go wherever they'd like. Some benefits are county specific, such as the real estate tax exemption and things like that. But every director, I think, across the board would be more than happy to help vets from no matter where they're from.
Okay. Another event happening in May is Stand Down Day. What is that all about?
So we set up shop at the fire company in Lansford. On one side of the fire company, we have free clothing, toiletries, non-perishable food items. We do a back to school one right before school starts. The one in May, I don't think we're really featuring anything special, but they will, they have great clothing, shoes, toiletries, everything like that. And then on the other side of the firehouse, St. Vincent de Paul Society provides a hot meal to go. So I think they're doing a barbecue for the May event.
Now, this is open to the public.
It's open to the public as well, yes. It's through Valor Clinic Foundation.
Okay.
They have a Paul's House, which is a shelter for homeless veterans in Monroe County. But they do these events all over the place. They have them in Wilkes-Barre, Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton, all over really.
Okay.
So it's open to the public. There's also resources there. We usually have St. Luke's, Carbon, Monroe, Pike Mental Health, the Salvation Army, the Red Cross will be there signing people up for smoke alarm installation. Agency on Aging usually comes out. So we do have some great resources available as well.
Yeah. And now this, you said, is something that you hold maybe quarterly. Okay. Mm-hmm. And do you get a good response from it?
We do. The back to school one, we'll see between 450 and 500 people. I'm expecting about 300 for May.
And again, if you have any questions on that event, I'm sure you can call Christine at the Veterans Affairs to get all of that information. So much that you guys do. I don't know when you sleep. There's all these events plus services, and I'm sure you have a small but mighty staff.
We do, yes. Yep, we have 3 veteran service officers, 2 full-time, 1 part-time, and we're hoping to hire a coordinator for our suicide prevention and awareness program.
Very good. All right, guys, when we come back here on Let the People Know special series on our veterans, we will continue our conversation with Veterans Affairs Director of Carbon County, Christine LeClair. We have a community hike and resource fair coming up. And then we have information to tell you about so you can support the Veterans Affairs and make sure that all of our veterans are honored as they should so be here in the Carbon County community and across the Commonwealth. We'll be right back. You're watching Let the People Know right here on SSP TV. Welcome back. You're watching Let the People Know right here on SSP TV. We're happy to be giving you programming that support our veterans. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to our viewers, especially those in Carbon County today and across all of the small counties that we serve. Christine LeClair is the Director of Veterans Affairs for Carbon County, and we've been chit-chatting about what they do, all the services that they offer the community. And there are many events going on that veterans can take part in. And as you said earlier in the program, not a lot of veterans, well, not as many as hoped, are taking part in these because they don't know about these events. So hopefully we can get the word out through this show and with the word of our viewers to tell people that if they're a veteran, hey, listen, take part in these events. You can have some free services offered to you, not only in Carbon County, but every county. Just check in with your Veterans Affairs office and find out what services can be offered to you as a veteran. So, Christine, there are other events we wanted to talk about coming up. The Veteran Community Hike and Resource Fair is coming up, and that is in June.
Yes, so on Saturday, June 11th from 10 to 2, we will be having a veteran community hike and resource fair at Mock Chunk Lake, just outside of Jim Thorpe here in Carbon County. So people are asked to RSVP. We will be providing sandwiches and a bagged lunch for veterans. And we'll also have many resources available for them so they can see, just what they might be entitled to just because of their service.
Okay. Is this rain or shine? Have to ask that all the time when it's outside.
It is rain or shine, yes.
Okay. And this event, is this something that you have all the time? And what's the nature of this? Just to get our veterans outside?
That's it. This is the first one that we'll be having, so
Okay.
hopefully we have more shine than we do rain.
Yes.
But we're really looking for families and veterans of any age to come out and just spend an afternoon at the park together and talk and see what resources are available for them.
And if I recall, the Mock Chunk Lake has some shaded areas as well. It's just like all in sunshine. There's areas with picnic tables and there's areas by the water. So it's comfortable.
It is, yes. Yep. And we'll be at one of the pavilions that will be marked on that day.
Okay, so that's 10 to 2 on June 11th. Again, it's at the Mock Chunk Lake in Jim Thorpe. The information is on your screen to register at 570-325-3986. There are so many events going on that I'm really curious over this scouting for vets. It seems the women veterans and the troops are going to be doing something special, and that's coming up also in June.
Yes, so on June 17th from 11 to 1, we will be hosting Scouting for Vets at the Mock Chunk Lake again. Janet Donovan is the president and CEO of Girl Scouts in the Heart of Pennsylvania, which is the organization who covers the Girl Scouts in our area. A disclaimer, my daughter is a Girl Scout, so this may be how I came up with this idea.
That's okay.
Yeah, but Janet was recently honored by Governor Wolf on Female Veterans Day.
Okay.
So I thought it'd be a great opportunity for her to come out and talk to the girls and bring some other female veterans together. And the girls would be able to work on their honoring our veterans badge. So the women there will be able to talk about their service and tell the girls about who they are and what they did and where they served. And the girls will, be able to get a badge and learn about these fantastic women who are right in our area.
That's awesome. Well, win-win. When
Yeah.
you talk about women veterans, is it a small percentage or is that number now growing?
It is growing. I don't know the statistic off the top of my head with women veterans in Carbon County, but it is a number that's growing, and there are, so many more services that are becoming available just for women. I know at the Wilkes-Barre VA, they do have a combat women's health clinic, which is fantastic. I go there. And it's really just women-specific services that are available for female veterans.
I forgot to even ask you if you were a veteran.
I am, yes.
There you go. So your background, Christine, tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. So I served in the Army for 8 years, from 2001 to 2009. I was all over the US, Central America, Europe, and I did 2 deployments in Iraq.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
When you were serving, did you find that there were more women as time went on serving?
It seemed pretty steady. I was in Army Aviation, so we did have a decent amount of women aviators and crew chiefs and support staff and things like that. So we did have a decent amount of women in our units.
What are some of the different services that are offered for women that have come to light since more women are serving our country?
There are expanded counseling services that are offered to women that are really just female specific and, deal with what happened while they were in the service and what they could possibly be dealing with now.
Okay. And we can learn about those services at the event that's coming up in June, correct?
Yes.
Very good. As far as the other events, I'm sure you're going to have other events that people can learn about. Is there a website or a Facebook page, or how can people get information on what you do throughout the year?
So we have both. If you Google Carbon County Veterans Affairs, you'll be directed to our website, and we have all of the flyers and some applications and just general information on there. And then we also have Carbon County Veterans Affairs Facebook page that we keep up to date with all of these events.
Okay. And then lastly, you are a nonprofit organization?
So the county is a nonprofit, and our together with Veterans Suicide Prevention Program is standing up a nonprofit. We aren't quite there yet, but yes, the county is.
And how do people make a donation or support any of the events that you might have, or maybe they have an idea that they want to support?
Sure. So for the Coffee and Camaraderie, we've already had some individuals and organizations come forward and say that they, wanted to provide coffee and donuts for the Vietnam vets. So if people are interested in doing that, they can just reach out to our office and we'll give the information on how they're able to do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. I know I learned a lot. I hope our viewers learned a lot. Again, this isn't just for our veterans in Carbon County. If you live wherever you live, whatever county you live in, there's a Veteran Affairs office that you can get the information. We want our vets taken care of. If you know a vet that maybe needs the services, please give them the information. I know, Christine, you said that you're always welcome to help out any veteran as far as resources of getting them where they need to be. But we certainly want to make sure that all of our veterans are taken care of.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us here on Let the People Know. And thank you again for all you've done for our country and serving our country, and to all of our vets. We want you to know that we thank you for your services, and that there are many services here that are at your fingertips to get involved with, and they are free for you. So thank you for joining us again, Christine LeClair, Director of Veterans Affairs of Carbon County.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you guys next time on Let the People Know.